Welcome back, Brick Maniacs. I'm here at the temporary designer's desk of Landon. We're actually in our mobile store for the EAA Air Venture this next coming week, and we're going to have some of the Lunar Astronaut minifigs available at our mobile store at the Air Show. Super popular release when it came out online, so I'm joined here with Landon, and he's going to go over some of the cool details of this.
Yeah, absolutely,
figure.
absolutely. This is a really cool figure. First of all, I mean, it's kind of an oddball release for us. We generally, obviously, World War II stuff, so it's cool when we get a chance to do stuff outside of that scope. And obviously, you know, just in honor of the moon landing, we chose to make these iconic figures here. Yeah, first time we had a batch of these out, they were gone within a few hours, right?
Yeah, very fast.
So I guess that was cool. And obviously, the first thing that you might notice on these figures would just be these awesome custom parts that we have on them. The helmet cover, the helmet, and yeah, so it's the helmet and the PLSS backpack. Those are both custom printed items designed here in-house. Camera guy might have had a hand with that. And then obviously a whole team supporting that 3D printing stuff, so it's really cool, really cool.
It's a very involved figure, that's for sure.
Oh man, where do we even start on this guy? I guess I'll jump right into the design of this, the artwork on here. You know, in the past, you might have seen our previous releases in the space lineup. We ended up just canceling that in favor of some other products, but we did keep the Lunar Astronaut on our project list, and I think it was a pretty awesome coincidence that, you know, LEGO did release their set at the same time, and I think this is an awesome upgrade. Really goes really well with that LEGO set. I guess moving on into the design, you know, we had this classic pressure suit design here. It's really cool. It's a nice evolution from previous minifigures that we've had in our space line. With that Navy Mark V pressure suit, you can see a lot of similarities between the two. This you know, the really iconic white fabric covering that. It's almost that Navy pressure suit is a very similar thing underneath of all this fabric covering. So it's kind of cool just doing the research for all that. All sorts of like different connections and hoses, just different pieces all over this. A really highly sophisticated spacesuit.
Well, and I know that one of the most difficult things in your job is trying to figure out the proportions, you know, transferring from a real human to the minifigure. So like in stuff like the life support system, how did you come up with those aspect ratios to make it look like the oversized backpack it does on the actual guy,
right,
but then also not to the point where it's as big as the minifigure?
Right. What's actually kind of interesting about minifigure scale, the minifigure head, if it was like a real human, you know, it'd be like this wide. Right. Well, that's actually how wide a helmet in real life is for these astronauts. So that was kind of a cool, that was actually nice working with that scale. We actually used a Lego head that's in kind of that pearl gold color. Mm-hmm. I think there's a few metallic gold heads floating out there on Bricklink. Unfortunately not in good enough quantities to do a big run of these. So, yeah. But man, if you really want to take that to the next level, those chrome gold ones are out there. So that's something to note. But that's cool that it worked out to kind of create that simulated gold visor. Right. On that helmet there. Obviously you have the US flag patch on the side there. There's other kind of patches that are hinted at on there on the front, and of course on the back of that of the PLSS backpack you have some patches there, US flag. There's those little Velcro strips. One thing I've been playing around with a lot recently are like simulated textures and kind of shadows on fabric. So there is a light side and a dark side to this minifigure. If you look really closely, it's kind of hard to see. I don't know, unless you got it in your hand, but I do have more shadows on one side compared to the other, so it's kind of.
There are a lot of fun Easter eggs in this minifigure. It's kind of one of those that you just want to take it apart and put it back together when you get it, just to see all the stuff that went into it, and that light side and dark side bit is really cool.
And of course you have the boot covers. You know, there's a standard boot that they would have for inside of the spacecraft on the way out and on the way back, but there's these boot covers to just protect the suit more so, and just extra durability. Man, what else? This is just a jam-packed figure with so many details. Anything else, camera guy, you want me to go over? Oh yeah, the watch. He's wearing a classic. This is just the iconic, the Moon watch. This is the Omega Speedmaster. One of my favorite watches. Really cool. Yeah, it's the first watch on the moon, so really iconic piece of history right there. If you're a watch nerd, you got a pressure gauge above that, and just a little pocket. I'm sure there's a specific reason why it's on there, but I mean everything had a purpose on this
Right.
on this suit. Nothing was there for no reason, right? So
Yeah, there was no flare.
or it's all flare.
Or
How
it's
cool
all
is this?
flare.
This thing is so cool. I love the anodized aluminum nozzles. I tried to capture that color as best I could. Yeah. Anything else? Anything else, camera guy? Cool. I think this was a really fun figure to put together and design. So I hope the entire team had fun helping out producing the 3D printed parts and everything else. So it's cool. Great opportunity to finally make this thing. So.
Yeah, well, and clearly the response was good online.
Yeah.
And like we said at the start of the video, these are going to be available this next week at the EAA AirVenture. And then as we have time and printing ability, as we said, it's an involved minifigure, we will bring them back and get them online. So if you missed the first run, don't worry. They're coming back, but if you can't wait, get yourself over to Oshkosh and come to our booth at the EAA AirVenture,
Absolutely.
and they'll be available there. So thanks for walking us through this, Landon. This is very
Absolutely,
cool.
absolutely. I love talking about this stuff.
All right, awesome. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe.